Zoe got up from her bunk, checking to see that no one was watching her. She went back to the corridor where she'd spoken to Munchkin that morning. It was darker than ever now, and she stumbled around for a long time. At last, her eyes got used to the darkness, and she could pick out the shape of walls beside her. But still, she couldn't find what she was looking for. She tried feeling her way along the walls, but found nothing. She gave up, sliding down the wall. She sat on the floor and decided to stay there for a while. The noises from Dobby's room were almost inaudible here. That was something at last. He began to doze. Then, as if it was a dream, a line of light appeared in the darkness opposite her. She wondered if she had gone crazy as a beam of light grew in front of her eyes. It was only a few paces to the left of where she sat. It hung motionless in the air for a moment like a sword of fire. Then it grew out sideways at the top and bottom and got fatter. Finally, she realized what she was looking at. It was a small door opening in the wall with a light behind. She was right. A moment later, she saw Munchkin step down from the door, halfway up the wall. Zoe was terrified. He'd seen her, but Munchkin's eyes had been exposed to the flickering light of his candle, and Zoe was still sitting in a dark corner. She watched as Munchkin carefully closed the door behind him. Zoe saw why she hadn't found it, even staring straight at it. It was hard to see where the door was now that it was shut. As soon as Munchkin was convinced he shut it properly, he blew out his candle. Zoe was sure this was something only he knew about. Something he wanted to keep that away. He was moving extremely quietly and slowly, and from the care he had taken to make sure the door was invisible again, she knew this one thing no one else knew about. Not even Dobby. Even as she sat there in the darkness, an idea came to her, and her heart started thumping so hard Zoe thought Munchkin would hear it. He was so close that Zoe could smell the reek of smoke from the extinguished candle. She held her breath, thinking he was still there. But when she heard his feet shuffle at the end of the corridor, she realized that he had quietly walked away. Zoe thought for a moment. She felt that there might be a chance of bargain to be had if she could find out a way Munchkin's hideout was such a secret. She might be able to bargain with him. Get him to tell her where Leica was being kept. In return, she would she wouldn't tell Dobby about Munchkin's hidey hole. But she couldn't do anything about it now. She didn't have a light. She'd have to come back when it was light sometime when Munchkin was doing something else. She put her hand against the wall and counted her footsteps to the end of the corridor. She had to know how to find the place again. The following morning, Dobby called everyone into the centre of the cathedral to make an announcement. He climbed into the pulpit. "We can expect an attack," he said. The spy was helpful. He tells us that the cats are planning an attack in a few days' time. We must be ready for when it comes. I'll be discussing preparations for our defences with Spat and Munchkin. When I have decided what we need to do, they will inform you of your jobs. That's all for now." Dobby, Munchkin, and Spat went off into Dobby's room. Zoe looked around. She saw Sarah and Molly standing nearby. Sarah was walking loudly about Spat, making sure no one would forget he was her boyfriend, as if that were possible. Everyone seemed calm about the news. Zoe's heart was racing, and then it stopped. Zoe had seen something that filled her with fear. She was watching Sarah showing off to the others. Then she saw her pull something on a cord around her neck from inside her dress. Attached to the cord was a pendant, a very unusual one. The cord it was strung on. The cord was strung on was normal enough, but the piece of jewellery itself was unmistakable. It was a big silver disc engraving pattern of the points of a compass. Not just 4 main points, or 4 more between them. This was a compass that had 16 big arrows, and then another 16 minor points marked by fine lines. Zoe knew it in detail, without needing to see it more closely because it had been her mother's. Sarah stood pretending to clean it, but it was really just a part of her showing off. Something broke inside Zoe and she charged at Sarah. Zoe practically threw herself at her. "Where did you get that?" she yelled. Sarah had been taken by surprise, and for a moment was too stunned to say anything. "It doesn't belong to you," shouted Zoe. "Give it to me." "Get off me," Sarah yelled back, pushing Zoe away. Zoe fought to grab the necklace from Sarah's neck, but she was held back by some of Sarah's friends. "Get lost, you little creep," yelled Sarah. "Get your hands off me." Zoe wrestled them. "Let go of me," she screamed. "Give me that. It's not yours." "Stop her. Someone shut her up." "Where did you get it?" Zoe shouted. "Tell me." Zoe nearly broke free, but Molly came over and hit her across the face. "Shut up, you're crazy." She hit Zoe again, and Zoe had enough. She sank into the arms holding her. They let her drop on the floor, where she lay crying. Sarah came up to her. "Why do you want to know? Anyway, what's got into you, your crazy little head?" Zoe shook her head as she told Sarah it was her mother's. They never leave her alone. Besides, the fact that Sarah was wearing it was all Zoe needed. People tried to get it off her, but she kicked and screamed until they left her alone. But she said she made the man in the boat promise to come back for her, all when they weren't full. But never did. But then you know that, Zoe's mind was reeling. This was the first news she heard of her parents in a long time. But it was good news. They had been all right when they passed the island. They hadn't stopped but gone on to the main island. They must be all right, Zoe thought to herself, but doubt came back to her mind. If they were okay, why hadn't they come back to look for her? Perhaps it wasn't that her her dad who'd been in the boat and swapped with Mum's jewellery for food. Maybe it was someone else. Maybe the only reason they had swapped it was because... "No," said Zoe loud. "They're okay, I know it." She told herself that the pendant was a good thing. That she wouldn't believe otherwise, but she had to find her parents, and to do that, she had to get off this stinking little island.